Hey, welcome to the Summit Host Hangout podcast where you'll learn how to plan, strategize, and launch your profitable online summit. No influencer status necessary. I'm your host, Krista from Summit in a Box, and we're currently in a series about encouraging your speakers to participate and cooperate with your process. Today, in episode 69, we're breaking that down to chat about the big problem with requiring speakers to promote your summit and how to do it the right way. We're going to cover where the need for this topic has come from, what the problem with requiring speaker promotion tends to be, and whether I think you should require speakers to promote and how to do it in the right way. Before we dive in, I want to invite you to join the Summit Host Hangout Facebook group. This is a group of Summit hosts who have all come together to get support each other in the summit planning journey, and just have a great time. It's a fun place to ask questions, get support others, and just feel understood, since people who aren't on this track just don't get it. So join the group by going to summitinabox.co/community. So let's start with where the need for this topic has come from. Why do we need to talk about there being a problem with requiring speakers to promote? The problem has come from the pitches I've gotten recently and the pitches I have heard other people getting, which is, hey, I'd love for you to be a part of this event. It sounds great. It sounds perfect. You've never heard of this person before, but it sounds like a cool event. You respond and say yes. They respond to you and say, okay, just to check, do you have, at least 5,000 email subscribers with a 30% open rate? And are you willing to send 3 solo promotional emails to your email list? Like, no, and no. Like, that is just the worst way to pitch. If you do that, just stop. And if you're not going to stop, stop listening, because we're just different. So I have gotten a lot of pitches like that recently, and I know a lot of other people too, because I see them complaining about it in Facebook groups and on Instagram. I was also kind of kicked into gear to record this episode thanks to Ashlyn Carter, and she talked about how hard we all work to grow our email lists. And this was after seeing one of these pitches, but she talks about how hard we all work to grow our email lists. For most of us, our email lists, those are our people. Those are our number one fans, the people we want to serve best. Those are the people that want to know everything we have to say. They're going to tell us what we should do next, what they'll buy from us. They're the ones that do buy from us, and we need to protect those people. However, there's these pitches going out which require a certain number of promotion, certain types of promotion, like you have to send this exact promo email that I wrote. And Ashlyn was bothered by that. I'm bothered by that. I know a lot of other people are too. We spend time and money growing our email list. It's not an easy thing to do. And now all of a sudden someone we've never heard of wants to come and get in front of our audience for free and tell us how they're going to do it. And that's just not how to do this. Okay. Sometimes I don't even want to promote my own offerings because I just want to deliver value to these people who are so loyal to me and my brand, and I don't want to be pitching them. And then someone else is going to come and just kind of try to take things over. So you can hear more of what Ashlyn has to say about this in episode 99 of the Speak to Scale podcast, which is Jessica Rasdall's podcast. I'll link to that in the show notes, but if you want to hear more about her take, go ahead and listen to that. She's really great. So I want to go over the biggest problems from my point of view now. I do think there's a big problem with how a lot of people go about requiring promotion, even if they're not sending that kind of pitch where I talked about, where you say yes and they come back to you to see if you have a certain size list. That's the worst. But there are still other levels that are just not great. So the biggest problems when you're requiring promotion are not all the people you're pitching know you. And they don't know if they can trust you with their email list. They don't know the kind of event you're putting on. How good is your summit actually going to be? They don't want to promote something to your list that ends up being a flop or ends up being a terrible experience, okay? Also, something to consider is you might be requiring more promotion than they would even send for their own offer. Especially if you're requiring 3 emails, which is just insane. That's too much. A lot of people don't even send that much promotion to their own list for something when they launch, which, yeah, maybe they should, but a lot of people don't. Okay? Another thing is your style of promotion might not line up with theirs. Maybe you want them to send a straight pitch email, and that's not something they do. Maybe they are all about the value add emails where maybe at the bottom or throughout the email, they're mentioning something they want to promote. And for some people, they're not actually going to get a return from your summit. So why should they send you their most engaged people? So those are the biggest problems. Those are things I want you to think about here. So based on that, do I think you can't or shouldn't require promotion? I think it depends. If you're newer, if this is your first summit, if you don't know who you're pitching, if you don't know what kinds of results your speakers will get, if you are pitching speakers who don't have the same audience as your summit, I don't think you should require any promotion at all. Okay? That doesn't mean they're not going to do it. That just means you're not necessarily in a place to require it, okay? So let's break a couple of those things down. If you don't know what results your speakers will get, if you can't promise them anything or say, last time I did a similar promotion to this, XYZ is what this speaker got, they shouldn't have to promise you anything. Why should they make you a promise if you can't make them one, right? So did you put any real effort in to making sure your speakers are going to grow their list or make sales in some way? Exposure is not a benefit that deserves promotion on their part, okay? So keep that in mind. If you can't promise them anything, you shouldn't make them promise you anything. The second piece of that I want to break down is if you're pitching speakers that don't have the same audience as your summit, the summits I run are for brand and web designers. A lot of the speakers I've had in my first, second, third summits had broader audiences of creative business owners. If I require them to promote to their entire email list, it's going to be a very disconnected message for a lot of their subscribers. And that's another thing that I've seen with pitches is you must send it to your entire list, no segmentation, your entire list. Can you blame people for not wanting to send a disconnected message to people they might not even be emailing all the time themselves? I sure can't blame them for that. So those are some of the big things that I think tie into maybe you don't require them to promote. But with that being said, that doesn't mean they won't. If you run your summit correctly, if you put the steps in place that we went over in the last episode, episode 68, people will promote. You're just not exactly in a place to be demanding that they do it. So listen to episode 68, where we covered 7 ways to increase the likelihood that speakers will promote. That's going to help you out here. So down to the bottom line answer that you want. Do I think it's okay to require promotion if you do it the right way? Absolutely. And I did in my last summit for the first time ever. So why do I think that it's okay if you do it the right way? 1, you do a lot of freaking work to create that summit. You're spending hundreds of hours. You're doing all the hard work and heavy lifting to make that thing happen. Yes, you can ask something of your people. Also, if none of the speakers promote, no one is going to get results. Not the people who don't want to promote, not the ones that were thinking about it, not you. No one will get results. And it's literally a waste of time for everybody. So that's why I think it's okay to require promotion, because it will benefit everybody as a whole. And then also, if some promote and some don't, it's not really fair to the people that did the promotion for other speakers to just ride their coattails and be I don't really feel like it, or I'm too good to promote that. I think because of those things, it is okay for you to require promotion, especially if you've hosted a summit or some kind of event like it before and know that it's going to be something that your attendees and your speakers will love. If you are pitching speakers who very closely match your summit's audience, if you put in the work to make sure your speakers will actually benefit or you're paying them, and if you know the speakers you're pitching or have a way to show them how dedicated you are to giving their audience an incredible experience, if you can say yes to all those things, I think it's okay that you require promotion. So yes, it's okay, but I also have caveats. Of course I have caveats on what kind of promotion I think you can require. I do not think it's okay to require any number of straight promotional, solo emails to their entire list of subscribers for the reasons we talked about before. They might not even communicate with their audience that way for their own promotions. Your event might need some more context to make the real connection, and it's just kind of gross to say that, okay? So let's talk about how to require promotion the right way. If you're going to require promotion and have all of the things we already talked about, here's what I think is the right way to do it. First, don't require more than 1 piece of promotion on each platform. 2 or 3 emails? No, don't do it. Your goal is to make them want to do it, not to force them to do it, okay? So you're going to require 1 thing or 1 thing on their 2 main platforms, maybe 1 email and 1 post on the social media account. If they see good results from doing that, they will send another email. They will post again once they start seeing the affiliate sales come in. So you don't have to force them to do it if you set your event up right. If you need to force them, you did something wrong. Listen to the last episode to help with that. Also, don't include something that says they have to send a promotion to their entire list of subscribers. How are you going to prove it, for 1? But 2, their entire subscriber list might not be the audience you're looking for. People segment their subscribers for a reason. So if they were going to send you to 1 specific segment, maybe it's because the other people are going through some kind of special training, or it's an audience that's not going to be relevant and convert anyways. They have a reason. So don't put anything about, having to send it to their entire list If they can get more targeted with who they're sending things to, that's good for everybody. And if they want to send to a specific segment, you're going to let them. The next thing I want you to do is don't make them send that straight promo, like we said. Again, people tend to not like to do that for their own offers, so why should they do it for your summit out of the blue with no context for their people? If you're going to require email promotion, let them send a value add email with the mention of your summit. And this year for my summit, I had 3 value add email templates for my speakers to choose from. And, they could pick one or all 3 of them to send to their audience. And I was like totally cool with that. And that's all that some of them did want to send, but it was great because they felt comfortable sending it. Their audience got a whole bunch of value in the email. And then, oh, here's a link to this cool free thing where I can go learn more about it. So I had 5 mistakes keeping you from this, 7 ways to this, or 7 was a lot. That was a bad example. I didn't use 7, but value add emails that naturally tied into the summit. And after each tip, I could be like, oh, if you want to learn more about this, check out these presentations from this summit and link to it. And it was just a really nice, natural way for them to talk about and promote the summit. Next, let them choose where to promote. They know their audience best. They know whether it's going to get the best reception. If that's Instagram and not their email list, that's okay. You don't necessarily need to say, you must promote on this, and this platform. You don't need to do that. And then last, offer to promote for them. That might be what someone needs to actually feel comfortable getting it in front of their audience. If they can introduce you as a guest, have you do all the hard work for them, and you present your summit, in a really good way, that might be what somebody needs. So offer to do the promotion for them. Now, I do want to say, even if you do all of these things, you require promotion in the perfect way, make sure it's something that can feel good for your speakers and their audience, some might still turn you down because of that requirement. Decide ahead of time what decision you'll make based on that. I had a speaker, again, like I said, this last summit that I hosted a couple months ago, I did require promotion for the first time ever. I required 1 email, 1 social media post. I didn't care what they sent or what. I just wanted somewhere my summit mentioned, even if it was a PS. And I had one speaker respond and say, I don't think I'll be able to promote. I have my own launch plan for that time. Is that okay? And my answer was, yeah, that's fine. I still value you and the value you're going to bring to the summit enough. If you really can't, that's totally fine. And guess what? She ended up actually bringing in $4,000 in sales. So she sent 1 email and was like, oh, that worked, and kept sending. So just know what you're going to say ahead of time when that happens. If my speakers have a good reason, they have another promotion going on, I don't care. If it's just someone who straight up isn't willing to put in the effort or put in the event in front of their audience at all, I'm probably going to look for someone else because I wouldn't be totally convinced that they were as dedicated to the summit as they should be. They just don't care about it. So that's something else to keep in mind too. The bottom line here is, no matter what you do, please make sure your speakers can benefit. Don't make this gross. Make it fun for them. Make them want to promote. Don't force them to promote. When they're excited and seeing something come from it, they will do the work. So as a recap, it's okay to have a small sharing requirement for your summit, but you need to do it the right way. Make the requirement small, easy, and make it feel good. And when you do those things and people see a return, they'll continue to share. So your action steps for this episode are to rethink your pitch and any requirements you do have. Thank you so much for tuning into this episode. For show notes and resources mentioned, head to summithosthangout.com/069. In the next episode, we'll be chatting about how to get speakers to contribute a bonus to your All Access Pass, so be sure to tune in for that. What we talked about in this episode is a secret to success you don't hear a whole lot about, and there are more. In fact, I've put together a PDF with my 12 best summit hosting tips, and you can get it today at summithosthangout.com/secrets. Now go out and take action to plan, strategize, and launch your profitable online summit.